Hello everyone, I am Dr. Mansi Sothi, a homeopathic psychiatrist, and today I am going to talk about a remedy Lac Caninum. Thank you for the wonderful response that all of you have given to the explanation of the remedy acid phos. So now, particularly since Lac Caninum, a remedy belonging to the animal kingdom, the basic theme of this remedy is about aggression and defense, and as well there is a strong feeling of being a victim, and therefore there is this persistent quality that we find usually in lacs is they tend to blame others for their sufferings. And why does it come up has a very interesting uh, aspect of it. And this can be seen when we take a detailed case. So I had this case of a 26 years old female who comes suddenly, usually a very passionate girl and very ambitious, doing well at the job, but certain disappointments in life and some very uh, unfortunate events brings this extreme fear in her, and the extreme anxiety. And it is to such a great extent that she started having this extreme fear of dark. She was unable to sit in a room alone, and she had to go to the place where there are people around. And she usually starts with palpitations when she has this anxiety, with the depressive thoughts of she is worthless, all others companions or her colleagues are doing better than her, and she is good for nothing, she has done nothing in her life. So this was the complaint that she had come up with. Initially, when I came across her complaints, it was clear that it's a case of mixed anxiety and depression. But however, I was not able to pick up the peculiarity of the feeling of worthlessness. But when I went into detailed case taking, what I find is that she was born and brought up into quite an orthodox family. So she had a sister who was quite smarter than her, more good looking, fair skin, and she was of a British complexion. And father of this girl was quite strict disciplinarian, and and it was a second marriage of her mother. So the mother also had to look after the first child of the father. So and the in-laws were not very supportive to patient's mother. So the whole environment at the home was that the grandparents of this patient were looking forward and was taking a lot of care to patient's sister, and the patient's mother also had to take care of the in-laws and had to handle the dynamics that was going on. So she was also very strict with her own child, and everyone at home was more appreciative of her sister who was more good looking. The strictness of the family was to such an extent that on a certain mistake she was punished literally to stand under the sun for an hour, and when father used to come, used to at time save her from such punishments. And there was this constant thing that started revolving in her mind since then, that her sister is more loved compared to what affection, compared to the affection that she is getting from the family. But however, over a period of time, she was also, when she grew up, she was able to understand the reason for why mother used to be so strict with her. And also she gave a credit to mother that because of her strictness and because of so much of discipline that she brought into her, she was able to do good at studies and good at career. So however, the bond with the mother improved, but the quality of the bond was again ambivalent. Now this girl, when goes to a college, she being very passionate and really good at her skills, quite communicative, and therefore we can say animated. So lacs are really animated, and she did pretty well in the college. However, and she was also, as I said, was very passionate, so she, while studying, used to teach others as well. But once it so happened that she flunked in one of the subject, and it was quite surprising for her because she was consistently performing quite well. and that was the time that she felt she is worthless, she is not good at all, and she tried to make a suicide attempt. However, it was kind of a threatening attempt, but that was the state of mind that she was in. With the support of friends and the family, she recovered. Then she went into one relationship again, which didn't turn out well because she could not sustain with the person, as the person was quite dominating in nature. And then this conflict gradually started building up, and then again there was this conflict of one of the guy that she was liking, and the parents wanted her to marry with someone else, and she against her wish, because she knew that she is the one who is not liked or loved more as much as her sister. In that state of mind, in that frame of mind, and she was quite confused with the relationship in which she was, she all of a sudden decided to go with the boy that her parents have found for her. And unfortunately that turned out to be also not a good and healthy relationship. And the one person whom she liked used to support her in her difficult times, and that's when she started with the feeling of guilt. And so anxiety conscience of is also one of the rubric that we find in Lac Caninum. So at the end, now she goes into a state that she has done nothing good. All the other colleagues are doing well compared to her, and then she feels that she have just ruined her own life, and she just doesn't know who she is or how is she performing, what is she doing. Therefore the certain delusions that this Lac Caninum remedy consists of is delusion about mind delusion, personal identity about. There is also a rubric that says mind delusion diminished, short she is. Short she is, it means that she is inferior. This inferiority complex is very much there in Lac Caninum. So this is how the whole evolution of the remedy we find. However, the basic theme of the Lac is also a loyalty. So they are very loyal people, and they expect the loyalty as well. So the one with whom they form this bond or loyalty, then they are very very loyal to them, of course. And you will always find some kind of abuse in the cases of Lac remedy. So there are rubrics of ailments from abuse, ailments from sexual abuse, ailments from mortification, ailments from indignation. So all these rubrics are covered by this remedy. Also there is this despair of recovery, which is also very prominent, because whenever the mental state that a Lac Caninum that has is worthlessness, there is this extreme fear, anxiety, there is despair, there is loathing of life as well. So again this remedy comes up very well in the cases of depression or mixed anxiety and depression. And also there is indifference in this remedy, and there is this want of a moral feeling. See, basically, like Caninum being an animal remedy, the way the upbringing is there is a lot of control in the upbringing of this child, as we see in the case as well. So the basic elements of their nature are being quite suppressed. So because of that there is this suppressed basic animal nature, and they very well know that they are dependent on someone, or there is this need for them to please others. So they form this defense that in order to be wanted in the family, or in order to be there in the family, or very much there, they have to keep others pleased. So therefore you will find that like Caninum is quite responsible. They take too much of responsibility, and while taking too much of responsibility, the base of it is that there is this strong need to please others, because somewhere they very well know that they lack in connection with them. Emotional bonding is lacking quite, because because the basic thing in the Lac group of remedies is also about a bonding with mother. So that bonding with mother is not quite emotional in nature. Usually we find that lack mother and lack child combination when we come across the remedies or the patients like that. So because they are very well aware that they do all the things that are required for their children, but they are very well aware that this emotional bonding is something that they are lacking with. But however, that's the theme of the remedy, and therefore they take too much of responsibilities, and hardly there is a barrier between themselves and others. So they are also quite empathetic in nature as well. So this is how the theme of the remedy rotates around. And so they are aggressive and defensive as well. So when aggressive shades of it includes this attacks of rage. So suddenly there is some surge, and suddenly there is so much of violence that they become ferocious. There is also the hatred and revengefulness that we find in the remedy. So as I said, they blame others for the condition that they are in. So when they tend to blame others, there is this you can say there is this lot of delusion, insulted she is, or is something that comes up very prominently. And when there is this feeling of being victimized comes up, at that time there is this feeling of that there is no one to support them, and there is she or he is alone and is a loner. And in that state, this extreme anger, violence that comes up in nature. And in a family you will usually find that the lack patient will be the quite dominating in the family because of that kind of nature that she has. And usually this bond of mother and child that we find in lack remedy is the black patients usually find quite comfortable with their children, but not so much comfortable with their partners, is what we usually come across in this remedy. And as I said, the irritability is very well marked, and there is this constant feeling of I'm not good enough. So this confused state of mind is also there in Lac Caninum. Irresolution is also there in Lac Caninum. So when we see confusion of mind, irresolution, and we see delusion, mind delusion, personal identity about, so the person has this very strong feeling of who she is she good enough or not. So this are very basic questions and the conflicts around which this remedy revolves around. And there are very much long list of fears that this remedy has. So we'll find a fear of dark, fear of death, fear of business, fear of some impending heart disease, fear of cancer, fear of downward motion, fear of riding car, fear of knife. So there is so much of fear there in the remedy, along with this rage, along with this ferocious nature, with dominating nature, with such type of delusions, and this want of moral feeling because of the remedy is basically belonging to the animal kingdom. And because there is so much of fear, you'll also find anxiety, and there is this mind confidence want of is also one of the very important rubric covered by Lac Caninum. And another feeling, since she is quite dominating and domineering in nature, we also find a rubric that mind disposition to contradict. So this female patients of this remedy are usually feminist in nature and more of activist, but the evolution of it is however very important to understand. So this is what I wanted to share about the remedy Lac Caninum. Hope this helps you to further the understanding of the remedy. Thank you so much for your support. If you like this video, then please subscribe the channel and share it with others. Thank you so much.